10 ways the beach can kill you. The beach may conjure up gorgeous images of crashing waves, tan lines and afternoon siestas. But this primo vacation hotspot isn't only about fun and serenity, it's also filled with dangers that, if you're unaware of them, can wreak havoc. Or at least cause bad sunburns. In this edition we assess these hazards, from deadly riptides and destructive tsunamis to venomous jellies and harmful algae blooms. Heat stroke. The human body cools itself off by sweating. But if the body's temperature control system is overloaded, beachgoers can get heat stroke. During heat stroke, the body's temperature rises quickly, up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit, about 59 Celsius or higher within 10 to 15 minutes. This can damage the brain and other vital organs. Heat stroke often happens when humidity is high. Sweat doesn't evaporate as rapidly in muggy weather, making it harder to cool off. Other factors leading to heat stroke include old age, 65 years or older, youth, children ages 4 or younger, obesity, fever, dehydration, heart disease, sunburn and alcohol use. Symptoms include high body temperature, red, hot and dry skin, rapid pulse, throbbing headache, dizziness, nausea, confusion, and unconsciousness. To help, get the person to a shady area, cool him or her down with cool water, and call emergency services. Tsunamis. Beaches are prime real estate for tsunamis, so it's good to be aware of an escape route in case you're sunning on the sand when disaster hits. In fact, if you hear a tsunami warning, get out of the water, stay away from beaches and evacuate to higher ground. Tsunamis are a series of waves that are formed by sudden displacements in the sea floor, landslides, volcanic activity or earthquakes. The name itself is pretty literal. In Japanese, tsu translates to harbor and nami means wave. Since 1850, tsunamis have killed more than 420,000 people. The Sumatra tsunami was one of the deadliest in recent years, killing about 230,000 people on December 26, 2004. Many coastal areas now have tsunami warning systems that monitor for earthquake activity and the passage of tsunami waves. But these instruments still cannot give exact predictions of the timing and size of tsunamis. Algal blooms. Who knew something so small could be so dangerous? Harmful algal blooms, also known as red tides, happen when a colony of algae grows out of control. These blooms can release toxins that harm people, fish, shellfish, other marine animals and birds. One of the most famous algal blooms happens almost every summer along Florida's Gulf Coast, and it usually ends up killing fish and making shellfish unsafe to eat. Even toxic algal blooms can have disastrous effects on the ecosystem. For instance, when masses of algae die and decompose, they can deplete oxygen from the water, leaving marine creatures breathless. People shouldn't eat shellfish from areas affected by toxic algal blooms. In 1990, 6 fishermen almost died after eating steamed mussels that they had collected from an area near Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The water may not be as tempting for swimmers. There is no real health concerns linked to taking a dip in waters affected by these blooms. Although some people can experience skin irritation and burning eyes, swimming during a red tide is safe for most people. However, never swim among dead fish, because they can be associated with harmful bacteria. Shark attacks. Shark attacks get a lot of attention, but they are relatively rare. For instance, 2015 had a record number of 98 unprovoked shark attacks, resulting in 6 deaths. To prevent these rare, but terrifying, attacks, avoid swimming near fish. Where there are fish, there are predators. Stay away from fishing boats and areas with diving seabirds. Both indicate fish are in the water. Avoid deep channels, troughs between sandbars and underwater drop-offs. Fish also congregate in these areas, attracting sharks. Stay out of murky water that makes it hard for you to see sharks, and for sharks to see that you're a human, and not a fish or a seal. Don't swim alone. Sharks are less likely to go after groups of swimmers or divers. Don't swim at dawn or dusk, when sharks are more likely to be actively feeding close to shore. A nighttime swim may be very romantic, it's certainly not the safest thing to do. Avoid wearing shiny jewelry or watches in the water. They gleam like fish scales. Rip currents. Sharks devouring beachgoers may get the most splash in headlines, but a more likely killer may be lurking at your favorite beach spot. Much like the name implies, rip currents are fast-moving currents of water that can pull even the strongest swimmers away from shore. These tides are dangerous, killing at least 100 people a year at surf beaches within the United States. Rip currents, also called riptides, can happen at both the seaside and large lakes, and frequently form at low areas or breaks in sandbars or structures such as piers. People can spot them by looking for a break in the pattern of incoming waves, a channel with churning, choppy water, a place with noticeably different water color, or a line of foam, seaweed or debris moving seaward. If caught in a rip current, don't fight it directly. Instead, swim in a direction that follows the shoreline, and swim back to shore once you are out of the current. If that does not work, float or tread water until the current stops, or call for help immediately. Jellyfish. Jellyfish may look squishy and pretty, but some are deadly and others can leave a stinging sore on swimmers. Of the estimated 2,000 species of jellyfish, about 70 can cause serious harm, or even death. So exercise proper jellyfish safety when chilling at the beach this summer. Look for jellyfish warning signs or announcements. Do not touch jellies that wash up on the shore, as their wet tentacles can still sting. What's more, it is a myth that urinating on a jellyfish sting will reduce the pain. Instead, find a lifeguard who can give first aid for stings, and see a doctor if you have an allergic reaction. If you are on your own, get the wound out of the water and remove the tentacles with something other than your bare hand. Then, splash vinegar or another acidic solution on the wound. Sunburns. Slather up with sunscreen and take cover under shade to protect your skin from painful sunburns while at the beach. It takes as little as 15 minutes for the sun's ultraviolet rays to damage your skin. These sunburns can increase the risk of skin cancer, which 1 in 5 Americans will develop. To keep your skin sunburn-free, try wearing long-sleeve shirts, long skirts or pants. But make sure your clothing is dry, as wet clothes offer less protection from the sun. If you only have a swimsuit, just remember to apply sunscreen amply and often. Gross water. The beach can be a pristine place, so long as it's not contaminated. Avoid these bad beach days, or simply unsafe beaches, by checking for beach closures or advisories. Advisories are usually posted because of water that is contaminated, from such sources as untreated sewage from boats, pets, failing septic systems, fertilizers and hazardous spills. Bacteria such as E. coli and harmful chemicals in the water can cause gastrointestinal illness. Beach trash. Keep your distance from rusty metal, broken glass and other debris that is left on the beach or that washes ashore. These may even include derelict fishing gear and broken boats. Often this debris, or litter, ends up on our beaches, damaging habitats, harming wildlife and making it unsafe for beachgoers to walk along the shoreline and swim in the water. Beachgoers can help clean up by getting involved with Marine Debris Program or the non-profit program, Ocean Conservancy. Collapsing sand holes. Beachgoers, especially kids, often enjoy digging deep into the sand. But these holes can collapse and bury people within them. A 2007 report, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, documented 52 fatal and non-fatal cases of these sandy collapses over a 10-year period. The victims ranged in age from 3 to 21 and 45, 87% of them were male. Most cases happened near the shoreline, with holes both small and big, ranging from 2 feet to 15 feet in diameter, and 2 feet to 12 feet deep. Typically, victims became completely submerged in the sand when the walls of the hole unexpectedly collapsed, leaving virtually no evidence of the hole or the location of the victim. These collapses are often triggered by digging, tunneling, jumping or even falling, and led to the deaths of 31 people. The other 21 people survived because of swift rescue and medical care. This concludes our video on 10 ways the beach can kill you. Please subscribe for more videos, and thank you for watching. Cheers!